Before we get into today's video, if you haven't checked my channel update video, I made a second channel where I will post pretty much anything non-basketball related, gaming videos for now, vlogs every once in a while in the future, so be sure to subscribe to that channel and check out my first ever gaming video. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. In 2014, LeBron James decided to head back to Cleveland after losing to the San Antonio Spurs in the finals. He joined forces with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. The Cavaliers struggled to find success early, but at the trade deadline, the Cavaliers acquired Timofey Mozgov, J.R. Smith, and Iman Shumpert, and more importantly, they removed Dion Waiters. This Cavaliers team finally clicked with those moves, and they ended the season with a 53-29 record. In the playoffs, in the first round, they would face the Boston Celtics, where they would win in a sweep, but Kevin Love would have his shoulder dislocated by certified piece of shit Kelly Olynyk. They would advance to the second round to face the 50-win Chicago Bulls led by Jimmy Butler, and this is where our story begins. The 2014-15 season was the best season the Bulls had since the day Rose went down with his ACL tear, and a lot of that was thanks to the newly emerged All-Star Jimmy Butler. The 30th pick that couldn't score to save his life turned All-Star, was averaging 20 points per game. He won All-Defensive Second Team and Most Improved Player this season. The other All-Star in this roster was Pau Gasol, who had revived his career on the Chicago Bulls, averaging 18.5 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. And along with those two in the starting lineup, Mike Dunleavy as a sharpshooter, and Chicago mainstays Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah. And off of the bench, shooters in Nikola Mirotic and Doug McDermott, a surprisingly productive season from Aaron Brooks, and another Chicago mainstay, Taj Gibson. The Bulls were the third seed in the East, breaking 50 wins for the first time in 3 seasons. The Bulls would beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 6 games in the first round. After having a terrible performance in Game 5, the Bulls turned it around and absolutely demolished the Bucks in Game 6, winning 120-66, a 54-point win. And, as we know, they would face the Cleveland Cavaliers, who did not have Kevin Love. Now, the Bulls and LeBron had a lot of history, a lot of it being really depressing on the Bulls side of it. And the Cavaliers had a lot of history with the Bulls, a lot of it being depressing on the Cavaliers side. Rose and LeBron also had a lot of history, and LeBron and Joakim Noah weren't exactly friends. So this was set to be an intense series, and early on the Bulls were underdogs. While Jimmy Butler had massively improved, he was obviously nowhere near the same level as LeBron James, and Pau Gasol as a second option wasn't quite the same as Kyrie Irving as a second option. But the Bulls would start the series with a win in Game 1. Derrick Rose, Pau Gasol, and Jimmy Butler combined for 66 points en route to a 7-point victory, while LeBron in Game 1 was outscored by Iman Shumpert while also shooting less efficiently than Iman. In Game 2, the Cavaliers bounced back, or to be more accurate, the Bulls just sucked in this game. Jimmy Butler shot 35%, Rose shot 30%, and Gasol shot 37%. But the series was headed to the Bulls' home court, and they stole one on the road, so the Bulls headed to Chicago confident. Game 3 was a fight. 17 ties and 19 lead changes. It was neck and neck the entire game, with the largest deficit being 6 points. Gasol got injured in the game and would not return. J.R. Smith would catch fire late in the fourth quarter, hitting 3 3-pointers. After a minute-long scoring drought, LeBron was fouled by Jimmy Butler, and he would hit both, giving the Cavs a 1-point lead, 93-92. The Bulls would call a timeout and draw up a play for Jimmy Butler. He would score at the basket with a potential travel, but a bucket nonetheless, 93-94. LeBron would miss a shot and Taj Gibson would grab the rebound and then hit 2 clutch free throws, 93-96. The Cavs drew up a play for the on-fire J.R. Smith. LeBron passed it to Smith, who tied up the game with 3 seconds left. The Bulls call timeout, Mike Dunleavy inbounds the ball, and...
Levy. Looking, finds Rose. Rose trying to get open, fires away. Bang! It's over! The Bulls win at the buzzer!
Rose hits an absolutely absurd game-winning 3, fading to the right over the extended hand of Tristan Thompson, and then he became a meme with his celebration. LeBron once again had a poor performance, shooting 32% from the field, and while he did get 14 assists, he also had 7 turnovers. The Bulls were up 2-1 heading to Game 4 in Chicago, and Game 4 is where the no call would happen. If Game 3 was a fight, Game 4 was a battle. Being down 2-1 to the previously considered underdog Bulls and having played awfully in 2 of the 3 games, a lot of criticism had come LeBron's way and the pressure was on. Also, on a side note, Kyrie was struggling in this series a good bit. A lot of that was because his injury that he was playing through. So in Game 4, Derrick Rose had his best playoff game post ACL tear. Granted, that is a small sample size. 31 points on 48% shooting. He and J.R. Smith were the only players who shot more than 10 times who had a good shooting night. 33% for LeBron, 20% for Kyrie, 38% from Butler, and 33% for Joakim Noah. It was an ugly game on both sides scoring-wise. It was a defensive, grinding, tooth and nail type of game, and the Bulls' offense looked particularly bad with their all-star big man in a suit on the bench. And in a gritty game like this, every little thing seems to have extra significance. Every bucket after multiple misses felt incredibly valuable, and giving up those baskets hurt a lot. So just like Game 3, this game was a nail-biter. 9 ties and 6 lead changes, with 7 being the highest deficit. In the last 40 seconds, LeBron hit 2 free throws after drawing a foul on Jimmy Butler. Bulls call timeout, and off at the timeout, Jimmy finds himself with a mismatch on Tristan Thompson, who seems to have a knack for having big shots made over him in this series. Butler hits a ridiculous step-back 3 over him, cutting the deficit to 2. The Cavaliers at this point have 3, count them, 3 timeouts. That's a lot to have with 21 seconds left in the game. So the Cavaliers use one to drop an inbound play. Off of the inbound, the Bulls trap it, timeout, Bulls trap it again, timeout. All 3 timeouts used in the span of 2 seconds on the game clock. The Cavs get it up to LeBron. The Bulls once again get a fantastic trap, and LeBron elbows Mike Dunleavy. Offensive foul, Bulls ball. So with 14 seconds left, Derrick Rose, who was the hot hand for the Bulls all game, took it to the basket versus LeBron and tied up the game with 9 seconds left. And this is where the no call happens. The Cavaliers have used 3 timeouts in less than 5 seconds of game time. So you would think that the then head coach of the Cavaliers, David Blatt, would know that they don't have any more timeouts. But no, he calls a timeout very clearly within view of 3 different referees while stepping on the court. He was clearly noticed by at least one of these refs. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the excessive timeout rule, maybe you've never heard of Chris Webber. If a player or coach calls a timeout when the team no longer has any timeouts, a technical foul is called and the opposing team is rewarded 2 free throws and possession of the ball. So had the referee called excessive timeout, the Bulls would get 2 free throws. They would have had Mike Dunleavy shoot the free throws, who shot 80% from the free throw line during the regular season and was shooting 95% in these playoffs. He would have likely made both, and then they would get possession. Cavs would be forced to foul, then Levy hits 2 again, and the Bulls are up 4 with 6 seconds left. The Bulls would have won Game 4 and been up 3-1 versus the Cavs. But instead, the call is missed, and while this isn't the main point of the video, this next thing also really pisses me off. After that no call, LeBron drove inside and got blocked by, of all people, Nikola Mirotic. And it went off of him. It was obvious. It was obvious the second it happened that it was off of Nico. But the refs decided to review it for what felt like 25 damn minutes. So David Blatt ended up getting that phantom timeout that he was calling for. So they basically got the timeout that they should have been penalized for calling in the first place, and then LeBron hits this.
James for the win. It's gone. LeBron James at the buzzer stuns the Chicago Bulls, and the series is tied at 2 games apiece.
Now, I have no desire to take away from LeBron how tough and how clutch of a shot this was. I don't have any criticism for him having made it. In the constantly delayed video idea folder on my laptop, this thumbnail for the myth that LeBron isn't clutch video that I will eventually be doing is the photo of LeBron hitting this shot over Butler. The problem isn't the shot, it's the fact that he had the opportunity to take it in the first place. Let's say this call gets made. Bulls win Game 4 and go up 3-1. They eventually win the series. I understand LeBron came back from 3-1 once before, but I'm gonna just go ahead and assume that that doesn't happen here. The Bulls would have probably beat the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals, not in a sweep like the Cavs, but they'd still win, and then lose to the Warriors in the Finals. But the bigger impact here is on LeBron's oh-so-glorified final streak. If the Bulls win Game 4 of that series, LeBron's final streak is 4, and he has his second streak of 3 after that. And I hate to do this, I really do, because it always ends up here, but this has serious implications in the LeBron versus Jordan debate. The final streak is a really big argument on the LeBron side of the debate. If LeBron's best streak is only 1 extra finals appearance in a row than Jordan's 2 different streaks of 3 appearances, with that streak only resulting in 2 championships, the whole final streak argument gets tossed out the window, because instead of a streak of 8 straight finals, he only gets a streak of 4. Only 1 more than Jordan's best, which he did twice. So this no call could very well have impacted LeBron's legacy significantly. Not to mention that LeBron was playing terribly in this series. History tends to forget things like that when you win, and it only remembers the good, like LeBron hitting that game winner, and it forgets the ugly as well, which would be that no call. And before you leave that comment, yes, I am salty. It makes sense to be. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.